So no one should misunderstand what I said, because it is the truth that this was an unexpected occurrence, and that led to a by-election in that position. Previously, it has been by deliberate moves. For instance, when Speaker James Wapakabulo was moved to become National Political Commissar, he had to vacate the office of Speaker, and then Francis Ayume was elected, and he finished the term of Speaker Wapakabulo. And thereafter, that is when the former Vice President Edward Sekandi was elected to be the Speaker of Parliament. So when I talked about an accident, it is simply the truth. But also, when that unfortunate death occurred, I had been invited to accompany the then Deputy Speaker and the then Chief Justice Owindolo. So together with Chief Justice Owindolo and the then Deputy Speaker Anita Among, who I accompanied, together with the Honorable Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, we traveled to Seattle. And we had hoped that the Speaker would actually overcome his illness and come back. Unfortunately, we were told that there was no hope. And the morning that we received the news that he died, I went to meet the then Deputy Speaker in her hotel room, and I told her that we have to accept what has happened. But I also told her that from the look of things, she was poised to be the Speaker of the Parliament. And I told her that this is by an act of God. She was supposed to be Speaker in 2031. So God brought the clock forward, that she now became Speaker in 2022. And I told her, you know, you have not done anything to assume this position. It has just happened. Lead with humility and gratitude. And you remember when she came and was elected, she declared that she would continue the legacy of her illustrious predecessor, namely to ensure that Parliament is a people-centered Parliament. And you know, Jacob Olanya was committed to high-quality debate and such things like that. It's really not for me to judge the record as of now. I am conflicted because I'm a candidate. You shouldn't be a high conflict personality in order to manage conflict. You need a person who is respectful of everybody. A speaker has to tolerate even a lot of stupidity occasionally, because even if you don't respect an MP, you should at least respect those who voted for that MP. And that's the reason why you continue referring to people as the honorable member for. I, for instance, cannot sit in the chair and say, Kagwanjala. I would say the honorable member for Busiro South. Because that is the basis of your seat. It is your passport. And it is not going to be easy over the next 5 years. And if I were to pray like our Lord Jesus, I would even say, Father, I would wish that this cup would pass me. But a strong pillar of the state is our military. And we must not infect our military with any idea that there are Ugandans who should be seen as enemies of the country, provided they are in the political arena. Because if I form a political party and you don't like my ideas, in other countries you have political parties that are formed and they say we want all foreigners to be expelled, which is a totally unpalatable idea in certain societies. But those political parties are then defeated in a debate through organization. The NRM I grew up knowing as a university student had formidable debaters who were capable of challenging any opposing idea.
This is the NRM you used to fight?
Yes, because we were crossing swords intellectually. I don't think we need a ruling party where you come to the studio and you speak certain ideas and thereafter somebody is waiting for you. You remember the time I had to escort Rubongoya out of the studio because he was feeling scared that he may be picked up on the road. Now that we have got to eliminate from our country. It is not sustainable anyway. You can do it, but for how long can you do it? So we need, the political question should be that we must disagree without being disagreeable, and that must depend on the politician, how we talk to each other. You and I can disagree,
like we vote.
Yes, but I must first of all be able to answer the question. If somebody asks me, what are Simon's ideas which you disagree with? I must be able to state them. But most time, because we have now forgotten the culture of listening, so we are in an echo chamber. When I'm sitting with my DPs, we are just echoing each other. We ignore what matters most. So the political question must start with a strong code of conduct. I think the political class is become extremely indisciplined. The way the politicians talk, the way they threaten each other, and we witness it on either side. The intolerance. If you go wearing yellow in a place which is predominantly red, people think you are unwelcome. If you go wearing red, I saw Nina Rose being escorted out of a function.
Well, Honorable Mark,
these don't require any law. They just require good manner.
for deputy speakership, are you comfortable with your best man?
My best man has been disowning me also, but me, I will not disown him. My best man said that electing Mao would be suicide. But sometimes people forget also their own journeys. That's why the Bible is very instructive. Paul is a formidable apostle by any measure, but each time he starts his writing, he expresses humility and how unworthy he is to lecture anyone about the love of God and how to be a good Christian, because he talks about how he was also persecuting Christians. But now we have people who the other day were part of the opposition, and now they are really the strongest NRMs, and they are now even lecturing NRM how NRM should manage its affairs. I will never lecture NRM on how NRM should manage its affairs. I will only put proposals and then expect that they will be discussed in a civilized manner. I believe that the current deputy speaker has represented the parliament very well, and I think he has given some of the difficulties, he has done a lot of diplomatic work.
So the problem is in the boss.
Internationally, and we are talking about the deputy.
Okay.
He has very good interpersonal skills, and you have got to know that he has been also in street politics. He's a lot younger. He has energy. So personally, I think that he has done a good job in filling some of the gaps that exist, because as you know, in a situation where the speaker is not able to represent the country internationally, it is the deputy who has stepped forward to defend our position very, very firmly. I think he has risen to the occasion. Sometimes challenges bring out your strength. Challenges actually can be an opportunity for you to grow, and I think he has grown tremendously because of stepping forward to fill certain gaps.
Yeah.
You are calling him my godfather. You later have to elaborate. Incidentally, I have not met him all through the campaigns and the elections. We had some conversations on phone, but the subject of speaker is something we have never talked about. You know, people think that I'm always running to him for everything, but in every relationship there has got to be boundaries, and General Saleh is very cautious in matters that involve the national resistance movement. In fact, the reason why we admire him is because of his humility and the fact that he respects wherever he is deployed. Remember, there was a time he was appointed a minister and he turned it down. He said, no, I'm not qualified. Let me first go back to school and study. But now we have people who know they are not qualified, but they will shamelessly present themselves to be vetted that they are qualified. For those reasons, General Saleh reserves the moral authority. But I don't think in this case he is going to be outspoken. After all, this is a matter of the politicians, and he has always told me point blank, Mao, I'm not a politician. He has always told me that. I know he can influence things, but I wanted to go on record that this is a subject that we have not discussed. And many of you call him my godfather. I don't deny that. And also because we work together in the Uganda Development Forum, where I'm his deputy, and also as the deputy, his deputy in the Salim Saleh Foundation for Humanity. But when you have a godfather, you don't abuse that relationship. You don't go.
That's why you seem to be telling.
You don't go waving it around. He is a godfather to many. I believe he is also a godfather to the incumbent speaker, and a godfather to many other people. And I think out of respect, one should not abuse such relationships.
What are you fixing about the speakership?
I've already told you that it is about the season. The next 5 years are very important.
Yeah, but I thought the incumbent, who can handle that business?
When you go into a race, you go into a race because you believe you can do it better. Let's look at the scoreboard for our country. In terms of democracy, we need a parliament to be more vibrant. We need a parliament to be a truly people's house. We need to empower the individual MPs. We need the public to own parliament. That's what we mean by people-centered parliament.
We, you and me.
Citizens of Uganda, I'm a citizen. Now, on the scoreboard of the economy, I think we have done well. We are moving from a time when the NRM took over, when a man's salary could not even buy a bottle of beer. The managers of the economy have managed inflation and kept it at a single digit. The economy has expanded. The scoreboard on the economy, by and large, is okay. The management of some resources like oil, sometimes some of us thought that the president was delaying too much the issue of the oil. One day I even put the question to him and he told me, if I were to release the oil quickly, you people would squander it. So I needed first to build the infrastructure, to have the pipeline so that we can export the oil, and also to build the refinery. So I think on that front, there has been a good strategy.
How
now,
about the legislative front?
Now you go to security. Our army, we are a country that is in a very tough neighborhood. It's not easy being Uganda. But our army has not been afraid to project power beyond our borders to defend the region. These are things we should be proud of. You even had the EU the other day even as they bash us for some of the incidents